Please welcome to the stage Chief Corporate Officer Duncan Fulton. Veuillez accueillir le directeur des services corporatifs, Duncan Fulton.
Hey everybody, welcome back. What a good day one. How do we like those flatbread and loaded steak bowls on the show floor? Yes? Yes? It's good. Thanks for coming back to join for the foundation session, folks. It's so important. I've been fortunate to be the chairman of the foundation since 2019, and I'm excited to update you all today on the strengths of our foundation and how we see it evolving and growing over the next few years. I want to start by recognizing the leadership of the foundation, both at the board level and on the leadership team. These are the people who guide how all of your investments are spent to help thousands of youth in great need. I want to start with Graham Oliver, who is the president of our foundation. He is the first restaurant owner to hold this position, and we've agreed as a board to ensure that in the future, there will always be a franchisee who holds the position of president. This is your foundation, funded by you, founded by you, and needs to be run by you. From his start as a teenager in the kitchen at Tim Hortons Memorial Camp in Parry Sound, to his climb up Mount Kilimanjaro, and soon this April to Mount Everest Base Camp, Graham has spent his life supporting and promoting the foundation. We also have a new executive director, Rob Etoff. Rob has been a board member for the last 6 years and has spent his entire career working with youth as the superintendent of education with the Halton District School Board. Katie Wheatley is our executive officer of programs and operations, who guides our frontline camp teams in helping to bring our vision and mission to life. And here on the screen is the leadership team at the foundation, people who you should get to know while you're here if you don't know them already. And you'll be hearing this afternoon from Graham, Rob, and Katie. And now here on the screen is our board of directors. Our foundation board has great restaurant owner representation from across the country, which is so important. We made the decision a couple of years ago to expand our board to include people who are not part of the Tim Hortons system, to add different voices and ways of thinking and perspectives. But the core of the board is always Tim Hortons restaurant owners. We added more seats to get more regional representation, recently including Nancy Cahill from Nova Scotia, who's been an owner for almost 40 years, one of the proudest and loudest foundation supporters that we have. Barb Drummond from Alberta and Melanie Paquette from Quebec, who have both been owners in the Tim system for about 20 years. And all together, along with so many other familiar faces on the screen, this is an exceptional group of people who guide all of our foundation decisions. I can't thank this group enough for their many hours of leadership. I would ask you to join me in recognizing them for all of their work on your behalf. We often use this time at conventions to have you hear from one of the youths that we have helped. It's so important to ground all of our work in a single story that represents thousands of other life stories that we have impacted. We're doing that again today, but we want to add something new to this session. I'm going to take a moment to talk about how we're thinking about the foundation in the future. Let's start with our assets. You'll remember we have 7 amazing campsites in Kananaskis, Alberta, in Whiteshell, Manitoba, in Parry Sound, and in St. George, Ontario, in Quillon, Quebec, at Tatamagouche in Nova Scotia, and Cantaton in Kentucky. Collectively, we have just over 1,000 beds between these 7 sites. So that means if we allow for a few weeks a year for holidays or maintenance, and if we assume we could bring youth to our camp for a week at a time, we have the ability to host more than 40,000 youth per year at our facilities. With our summer and school programs today, we're serving about 10,000 youth per year. And this is the first important point in our charitable strategy. Even with fully utilizing facilities for the months of June, July, and August, and some school programs through the year, we're only using 25% of our total capacity. This is a critical point for our vision for the future. Any good strategy starts with fully utilizing the assets you've already paid for and own. We employ people who live at these sites. We pay year-round maintenance, cutting grass, clearing snow, providing security. Nous faisons des investissements annuels dans nos camps. Nous remplaçons des terrasses, des toits. Nous nous assurons que nos bateaux sont sécuritaires. Nous remplaçons l'équipement dans nos cuisines ainsi que d'autres activités. So annually, the first $11 million we raise goes straight to cover the costs like operations and maintenance, administration, even before we host our first youth. It's a really large financial expenditure and commitment for an exceptional group of sites. So to spend $11 million a year to operate our sites and only use them for 25% of our capacity, well, you quickly get to the conclusion we need to substantially ramp up our utilization as our core charitable strategy. By the way, this is not new. This is the way it's always been for almost 50 years. Tim Camps was established as a summer program. We've just never called it out this plainly. And as a board, we're looking at this in detail and how to address it in the coming years. In 2023, we expect to raise about $23 million for the foundation. And historically, 80% of all that money we raise comes from you and your guests through Camp Day, coin boxes, Tap to Give, and other donations that you all generously make and support. And I can't even begin to tell you how much the youth we help rely on each and every one of you to continue to grow your restaurant level support for the foundation. But when we think about how to significantly increase the number of youth we help at world-class sites you've already paid for, it comes down to elevating the foundation within our system, but also finding new funding outside our system. Hope et son équipe travaillent à apporter de la visibilité à la fondation à l'extérieur du jour de camp Tim Hortons. Et Marcus aide à prélever des fonds à travers nos clients grâce à la fonctionnalité de l'application arrondissée pour les camps Tim. Nous avons déjà prélevé des centaines de milliers juste cette année grâce à cette application et nous savons que cette application a beaucoup de potentiel pour engager nos clients. Second, we know we can't ask for additional financial support from all of you. You have given a lot, and you continue to give a lot, and thank you. But if we're not going to look to all of you to fund the next 30,000 youth, then we need to find new sources of funding. That means looking outside our system on a big scale, whether that's banks or other blue chip companies who have the kind of brand we would want to associate ourselves with. There's also the reality that when you go to meet a Scotiabank or a Bell or a Rogers, and when you pitch them on contributing $1 million or more per year, they want to invest in something they can co-own in conjunction with us. And I can tell you they all want to partner with the amazing Tim Hortons brand. An early way we have started to scale for this and solve for this is identifying communities that need help and communities that many companies want to help. And the first example of this are Black youth, youth of color, and Indigenous youth. We have recently developed a new partnership with an organization called the Justice Fund. It's a charity started by Drake's producer, Noah Shabib, that focuses on helping Black and Indigenous youth of color that live in communities at risk from downtown Toronto. They have wide and deep relations with organizations who help youth who live in communities in conflict with the law, youth who lack positive role models and healthy support systems, and come from circumstances and environments they don't control and they never asked for. The organizations that exist today and are working with these youth are very small and doing very important work. Most of these organizations don't have a website. Most of them you've never heard of. But they're made up of heartfelt community leaders borrowing space where they can find it in community centers and church basements to do what they can to guide youth to make better decisions. So Noah Shabib decided to start a foundation to help these youth and all of these organizations. But he lacked a structured way to do that. We have a structured program. We have physical facilities. But we lack the relationship with these micro-organizations who are doing the work every day. So Katie Wheatley from our foundation team led multiple joint working sessions with these youth leaders. And together we built a custom curriculum to help these youth at risk, pulling from the best of our experience at Tim's Camps and the practical downtown curriculum that's used by existing youth leaders. We've now done 3 rounds at the St. George camp with nearly 100 youth for multiple weekends. And we just announced an absolutely incredible 5-year partnership with the Justice Fund, where they will identify and select Black youth in need, and we have committed $1 million a year to putting on programming for them. and are prospecting outside funding partners to pay that $1 million. This one partnership was a lot of work. It's been almost 2 years in the making. It's going to fill an incremental 330 youth spaces per year at our facilities. So not the solution, but an awesome example of one solution demonstrating the future of growth of the foundation to fully use our assets and stay entirely consistent with our heritage of always helping youth in need. The partnership is also exciting because the Justice Fund is committed to opening a downtown Toronto facility, and they have asked us to provide after-school programming downtown. This would be the first time in our almost 50-year history that our foundation would provide programming outside our camps at a significant scale, and will be a continuation for the youth involved to receive counseling after school in downtown Toronto during the week, and then the full camp experience at St. George or Parry Sound on the weekend. Ce que nous trouvons excitant concernant ce développement est que ça nous encourage à penser à ce que nous pouvons offrir en tant que programme à l'extérieur de nos camps. Et si c'est bien fait, ça nous ouvre des portes à faire quelque chose de semblable dans des centres urbains à travers le pays, à rejoindre et aider des enfants près de leur communauté et de toujours continuer d'avoir nos camps qui leur offrent l'opportunité de les réunir grâce à nos programmes. This would also mean more opportunities for more of you to identify youth in your own communities that can be helped in the future, without the limitation of traveling to one of our summer camps just during the summer. It's an exciting vision and expansion of how we think about helping youth in the future. We're building a similar program for Indigenous youth, with a similar approach of co-creating curriculum with Indigenous leaders. And I encourage you to talk to Katie, Rob, or Graham in the hallways or at the foundation booth to hear more about all that great work. We also want to be practical and understand to maximize our assets, we should be open to other sources of revenue. This will include opportunities for all of you as owners to bring your employees to camp to focus on training and team building and rewards. Our vision will always be helping youth from underserved communities imagine a future without poverty and achieve their potential. Our goal will always be finding new fundraising opportunities and partnerships to deliver life-changing programs to more youth. Our focus will always be filling up our facilities that you all help build and the foundation fully pays for every year. This is the mission at hand. I know that Graham wants to share an update on our return to camp this summer, the first time in person since the beginning of COVID. Rob's going to introduce himself in a moment, and Katie's going to introduce the very inspiring story of Brandon Hayashi, who's a testament to what is possible when we give kids the hand they need. As a system, we need to continue to lean into our foundation, an organization that's woven into the fabric of our brand and our communities, that's helped more than 300,000 kids through industry-leading youth development programming, and that will be celebrating its 50th anniversary the next time we're celebrating together at convention in 24. Before I hand things over to Rob, I want to thank you very, very much, each and every one of you, for your continued and incredibly generous support. It makes a world of difference. And now I'd like to welcome Rob to the stage. Thanks very much.